Nature's power is everywhere: gentle waves, warm sunlight, and sometimes violent storms. Few sights are as dramatic or feared as the tornado, a spinning giant descending from the sky. It reminds us how small we are before such raw, untamed energy. When a tornado touches down, it can change lives and landscapes in seconds. Both beautiful and terrifying, tornadoes are nature's unpredictable giants of the sky. The power of a tornado is a concentrated, rotating force that can unleash devastation on an unimaginable scale. Its roar is a deafening symphony of destruction, trees snapping, buildings torn apart, debris hurled at incredible speeds. When a tornado strikes, it leaves a scar upon the land, a trail of chaos and splintered stumps. Neighborhoods become wastelands, cars twisted, homes erased. This is nature's fury made visible, a force that turns the ordinary into the deadly in an instant. For as long as humans have witnessed tornadoes, we have been captivated by them. These storms remind us of nature's power and our own vulnerability. We tell stories, seek to understand, and come together in the aftermath. Scientists and storm chasers risk much to unlock tornadoes' secrets. Communities rebuild, sharing resilience and hope. Technology now lets us witness these giants from afar, reminding us of the awe and respect they inspire. Tornadoes don't just appear, they're the result of a perfect storm of ingredients. Warm, moist air near the ground meets cool, dry air above, creating instability. Add wind shear, winds changing speed and direction with height, and the atmosphere starts to spin. In spring and early summer, especially in the central US, these ingredients combine, setting the stage for tornadoes. When the recipe is just right, nature unleashes one of its most powerful forces. When warm rising air meets wind shear, a spinning tube of air is tilted upright by a thunderstorm's updraft. The storm's core begins to rotate, forming a supercell, a powerful, self-sustaining weather engine. At its heart is the mesocyclone, a vast rotating column of air, the direct parent of tornadoes. This rotation is what makes supercells so dangerous, responsible for most strong tornadoes worldwide. As the supercell rotates, a wall cloud forms at its base, a clear sign of intensifying rotation. From this wall cloud, a funnel may descend, stretching toward the ground. This iconic cone-shaped cloud is the precursor to a tornado. If the spinning column touches down, it becomes a tornado, unleashing its destructive power on the landscape below. The moment the spinning column of air touches the ground, a tornado is born. A swirl of dust and debris is often the first visible sign, as the vortex pulls up soil, grass, and loose materials. This debris cloud confirms ground contact, marking the tornado's true arrival. Now the tornado becomes a violent bridge between sky and earth, ready to carve a path of destruction. Air rushes inward and upward, fueling the tornado's immense power. The tornado draws energy from the supercell above, evolving rapidly. Its shape can shift from a thin rope to a massive wedge, sometimes a mile wide. The tornado's life depends on its parent storm. When cut off from warm, moist air, it weakens. The funnel narrows and contorts in its final moments, a stage called roping out. Eventually, the connection to the ground is lost, and the tornado dissipates. All that remains is a scar on the land, silent testimony to its violent passage. Tornadoes can last minutes or hours, but their impact is always unforgettable. Each one is a unique, unpredictable force of nature. How do we classify something as wild as a tornado? By the evidence it leaves behind. Direct wind measurements are nearly impossible, so we rate tornadoes by their damage. This led to the Fujita scale, created by Dr. Ted Fujita in 1971. The scale ranges from F0, light damage, to F5, utter devastation. In 2007, the Enhanced Fujita Scale, EF scale, refined this system, matching damage more precisely to wind speeds. The EF scale uses 28 damage indicators, from sheds to shopping malls, to improve accuracy. After a tornado, survey teams walk the path, documenting destruction and mapping the track. They compare the evidence to the EF scale, assigning a rating based on peak intensity. The process is painstaking, but it gives us a common language for tornado strength. This system helps communities understand risk and prepare for future storms. Every tornado's rating tells a story of nature's power and our need to respect it. The EF scale is our best tool for making sense of chaos. Most tornadoes fall into the lower end of the enhanced Fujita scale. EF0 tornadoes with winds up to 85 miles per hour can still peel shingles, break branches, and topple fences. EF1 tornadoes, up to 110 miles per hour, cause more severe roof damage, shatter windows, and overturn mobile homes. Even these weak tornadoes can be deadly, especially for those in vehicles or poorly built structures. EF2 tornadoes with winds up to 135 miles per hour can tear roofs off houses, demolish mobile homes, and toss cars. These storms are a major threat to life and property. Together, EF0, EF1, and EF2 tornadoes make up over 95% of all tornadoes. Their frequency can breed complacency, but every tornado is dangerous. The difference between inconvenience and disaster is often just a matter of shelter. Respect every tornado warning. Survival depends on it. Even the most common tornadoes demand caution. Never underestimate nature's fury, no matter the rating. Safety starts with taking every threat seriously. EF3 tornadoes mark a new level of destruction, with winds up to 165 miles per hour. These storms can obliterate entire stories of well-built homes and turn vehicles into deadly projectiles. Forests are stripped to splintered trunks, and survival without underground shelter is unlikely. EF4 tornadoes with winds up to 200 miles per hour are even more devastating, leveling houses, mangling steel, and erasing neighborhoods. The difference between EF3 and EF4 is immense. Both leave behind chaos and heartbreak. Thankfully, these violent tornadoes are rare, making up less than 5% of all events. Yet they cause the majority of tornado-related deaths and destruction. Their paths are wide, their impact catastrophic. When meteorologists warn of a potential EF3 or higher, it's the most urgent alert possible. These storms can change a town forever in minutes. Preparation and shelter are the only defenses. Take every warning seriously. Lives depend on it. The power of severe tornadoes is beyond imagination. At the top of the scale is the EF5 tornado, the rarest, most violent storm on Earth. With winds over 200 miles per hour, EF5s don't just destroy, they obliterate. Well-built homes are swept clean from their foundations, debris scattered for miles. Even steel and concrete structures can be demolished. Cars become missiles, trees are stripped bare, and roads are scoured. Survival above ground is nearly impossible. Only underground shelters offer real safety. Witnesses describe an earth-shattering roar and emerge to a world unrecognizable. Surveying EF5 damage is humbling, nature's fury at its absolute peak. Confirming an EF5 requires finding total destruction of strong structures. Each F5 becomes a legendary case study in meteorology. Thankfully, these storms are exceedingly rare, but their legacy endures. The EF5 is the ultimate reminder of the atmosphere's terrifying power. Tornadoes are more than just wind, they're engines of flying debris. Everyday objects become deadly projectiles, causing most tornado injuries and deaths. Even weak tornadoes can be fatal if you're not in secure shelter. The dramatic pressure drop inside a tornado can contribute to structural failure, but wind and debris do the real damage. Old advice to open windows is a myth. Don't waste precious time. After the storm, dangers remain: downed power lines, ruptured gas pipes, and sharp debris. First responders and survivors must navigate a hazardous landscape. The psychological toll is real. Trauma, anxiety, and fear can linger for years. Healing from a tornado is a long process, both physically and emotionally. Respect the hidden dangers, not just the visible ones. Safety means caution before, during, and after the storm. The scars left by tornadoes are both seen and unseen. For thousands of years, humans have watched tornadoes sweep across the plains, terrifying, mysterious, and awe-inspiring. Long before science, our ancestors saw these storms as spirits or gods, woven into myth and legend. In Native American cultures, tornadoes were beings of immense power, forces of destruction and renewal. We huddled in shelters, listened to the roar, and emerged to a changed world, forever fascinated by these giants of the sky. For centuries, tornadoes were shrouded in myth and fear, understood only through scattered eyewitness accounts. The scientific revolution brought new curiosity. Thinkers like Benjamin Franklin began to seek natural explanations. By the 19th century, researchers like John Park Finley collected data, but prediction remained elusive. The devastating tri-state tornado of 1925 showed how much we still had to learn, and the urgent need for warning systems. The turning point in tornado science came with radar. During World War II, operators noticed storms on their screens. After the war, scientists used radar to see inside storms and track their evolution. In 1974, the super outbreak tested this new knowledge. Forecasters used radar to warn communities, saving lives. The tragedy accelerated research, leading to the Doppler radar network we use today. The modern era has transformed tornado research, thanks to advanced radar, powerful computers, and dedicated scientists. Doppler radar and computer models now let meteorologists predict severe storms and tornadoes with greater accuracy. Brave storm chasers and field researchers gather vital data, deepening our understanding. We've moved from myth to science, increasing warning times and saving lives. Our journey continues, striving to predict and coexist with nature's most powerful storms. Tornadoes aren't just an American phenomenon. They're a global force of nature. Found on every continent except Antarctica, these storms form wherever warm, moist air meets cool, dry air and wind shear. From the US to Argentina, Europe to Bangladesh, tornadoes shape lives and landscapes, reminding us that nature's power knows no borders. The central and southern United States, Tornado Alley, are the global capital of tornadoes. Here, warm, moist air from the Gulf meets cool, dry air from the Rockies and Canada, creating the perfect storm. Each spring, hundreds of tornadoes form, shaping life on the plains. For locals, storm chasers, and scientists, this is the heartland of the whirlwind, where nature's fury is on full display. While Tornado Alley is the most famous hotspot, tornado activity in North America is not confined to this single region. Another significant area, sometimes called Dixie Alley, covers many states in the southeastern United States, including Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia. Tornadoes in this region present a unique and often more dangerous set of challenges. Unlike the wide-open plains of Tornado Alley, Dixie Alley is characterized by hills, dense forests, and a higher population density. Tornadoes here are often rain-wrapped and obscured by the terrain, making them incredibly difficult to see until they are dangerously close. The tornado season in Dixie Alley is also different. While it has a peak in the spring, this region can experience a second active season in the late autumn and early winter. Furthermore, many tornadoes in the southeast occur at night, when people are asleep and less likely to receive warnings. This combination of factors, poor visibility, higher population, and a higher frequency of nighttime storms, makes tornadoes in Dixie Alley statistically more deadly than those in the traditional Tornado Alley. The storms here may not always be the most powerful, but their impact on human life can be far greater. To the north, Canada experiences the second highest number of tornadoes of any country in the world, with an average of about 60 to 80 confirmed tornadoes each year. The prime tornado-prone regions in Canada are the southern prairies of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, as well as southern Ontario and Quebec. These areas are essentially a northern extension of the same atmospheric dynamics that affect the United States. While Canada's tornadoes are generally weaker than those seen in the United States, and violent EF5 storms are exceptionally rare, they still pose a significant threat and have caused major damage and loss of life in the past. Even Mexico experiences tornadoes, though they are less frequent and not as well documented. They tend to occur in the northern parts of the country, near the border with the United States, where the southern edge of the same storm-producing systems can reach. From the plains of Canada down to the mountains of northern Mexico, the entire continent of North America is uniquely positioned to be the world's foremost breeding ground for these storms. It is a vast theater of weather where the right conditions can, and do, come together to unleash these incredible spinning giants. When we think of tornadoes, the rolling hills of the United Kingdom or the flatlands of Germany may not be the first places that come to mind. Yet, Europe experiences a surprising number of these storms. In fact, based on the number of tornadoes per land area, the United Kingdom and the Netherlands report more tornadoes than any other country in the world. However, there is a crucial difference. The vast majority of European tornadoes are weak, typically in the EF0 or EF1 range. The atmospheric conditions required for the violent supercell tornadoes seen in the United States are much rarer in Europe. Tornadoes in Europe are often produced by different types of weather systems. Many are associated with lines of strong thunderstorms that form along weather fronts, rather than isolated supercells. These can still produce brief, damaging tornadoes capable of tearing roofs from houses and downing trees. Germany, Poland, and northern France form a corridor that sees some of the more significant tornado activity on the continent. Historically, there have been a few powerful tornadoes in Europe, but they are exceptional events, not the regular seasonal threat they are in North America. Nonetheless, they serve as a potent reminder that no region is entirely immune. On the other side of the world, Australia also has its own tornado hotspots. The continent experiences around 20 to 25 tornadoes per year on average, concentrated in a few specific regions. The most active area is in the southwest of Western Australia, where cold fronts in the winter can produce the necessary spin and instability. Another significant zone is the southeastern part of the country, from inland Queensland down through New South Wales and Victoria. Here, severe thunderstorms, sometimes including supercells, can form in the warmer months, bringing with them the threat of tornadoes, giant hail, and damaging winds. Much like in Europe, the majority of Australian tornadoes are on the weaker side of the scale. However, the continent has experienced powerful and destructive tornadoes in the past. Because much of the country is sparsely populated, it is highly likely that many tornadoes go unreported, spinning harmlessly across the vast, empty outback. As in other parts of the world, awareness is growing, and better reporting and storm spotting networks are helping to create a more accurate picture of the true frequency of these events down under, proving that the land of kangaroos and koalas is also a land of whirlwinds. Of all the tornado hotspots outside of North America, one region stands out for the sheer human tragedy these storms can inflict: the nation of Bangladesh and the neighboring states of eastern India. This densely populated, low-lying river delta is another of the world's most tornado-prone areas. The local meteorology is driven by the transition from the dry season to the monsoon season in the spring months of March, April, and May. During this time, hot, dry air from the northwest of India collides with extremely warm, humid air from the Bay of Bengal, creating incredibly volatile atmospheric conditions ripe for severe thunderstorms. The tornadoes that form in this region can be exceptionally violent and are often catastrophic. The combination of powerful storms and a very high population density creates a recipe for disaster. Millions of people live in homes that offer little to no protection from tornadic winds. There is no widespread effective warning system like the one found in the United States. As a result, when a strong tornado strikes a village in Bangladesh, the consequences are often devastating, with casualty figures that can be shockingly high. The deadliest tornado in recorded world history occurred here. On April 26, 1989, a massive tornado struck the Maniganj district of Bangladesh. It was estimated to be over a mile wide and carved a path of destruction for 50 miles. The storm completely flattened entire towns, leaving behind an almost unbelievable scene of devastation. An estimated 1,300 people lost their lives in this single event, and over 80,000 were left homeless. This tragic storm, and others like it in the region, highlight a stark reality. The deadliness of a tornado is not just a function of its wind speed, but also of the vulnerability of the population in its path. Another significant tornado hotspot exists in the Pampas region of South America, covering parts of Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, and southern Brazil. This area has a similar geography to the Great Plains of the United States, with flat, fertile land where cold air from Patagonia can meet warm, moist air from the Amazon basin. This region, known as Pasillo de los Tornados or Tornado Corridor, is believed to have the second highest frequency of tornadoes in the world, after the United States. While research and documentation here are still developing, it is clear that this is another of the planet's great natural laboratories for the formation of severe storms. Tornadoes remind us of nature's power and our vulnerability. From Kansas to Bangladesh, we share a fragile coexistence with these storms. We cannot control them, only prepare, respond, and rebuild. Yet, in the aftermath, communities unite, neighbors help neighbors, and resilience shines through. The tornado humbles us, but it also brings out the very best of the human spirit. The future of tornadoes is uncertain. As our climate warms, there's more fuel for storms, but possibly less of the wind shear needed to make them spin. Outbreaks may become more intense and shift to new regions, threatening more communities. Our best hope is to adapt, learn, and build resilience, respecting the storm's power as we face the future together.